Okay, this is, I think, part 4. And okay, Alana, that's great. This is the ugliest website I've ever seen. What are you doing to me? Well, let's kind of let's back up a little. Let's first of all, you know how in the last video I said don't do this? Well, let's change that. So you can do this. It's not wise because if you have multiple pages, you want them all to use the same styles so that your site is consistent. And what if you you have like 200 files in your website and all the styles are in the page? If you make a change to one, you're gonna have to like go in and like copy paste like the whole, it's a nightmare. It's a terrible idea. It's not even good when you're starting out with like one file because you just need to get into good habits, right? It's also just nice to have them separate. There's another terrible way that you could do it. You could say p style equals we'll just, because color is easy, I'll just do color, oh, come back, of I don't know, fire brick. So if I could change the text color like inline, this is called inline style. And if I go to the browser, sure enough, that one only is red. That's also a terrible idea. It's much better to add a class. And the cool thing about CSS is you could add multiple classes. I could say, I could have column and then column 2, and then I could say column 2, and these will apply the same styles, and these will apply styles specific to column 1 and column 2. So up here where I have flexfun div, I could say flexfun.column, and as long as all my columns have this class of column, it's good. So this is one of the only times when a space is okay. Like, you want to have spaces between your attributes, but like in your class name, you want to, if you have multiple class names, they will be separated by a space. So you don't want to have a class name that's multiple words because CSS will see them as one. Like, let's say I have a paragraph. Oops. If I say class, p class, red text, underline or something. These are actually 3 different class names. If I wanted a class name called red text underline, these would need to be connected with a dash or something. Dashes are generally the best way, or underscores. But yeah, you want to you can't have a space in a class name. That is how HTML knows, oh, this is a class name and this is a class name. Okay, right, we're making a pretty page now. So I guess I'll just leave all this stuff in here. I'm gonna give a background color to the body. Oh, right, we're moving the style. So I have style in this one page. I want to move it to its own file. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to click on the name of my folder, and I can click new file or say Command N. It will make a new file on the same level as index.html. And you want it to be a .css file, and the standard is style.css as like your first style file. So now I have this style. I want to make sure it's not in my images folder. So if I click on that little arrow, I can see, yes, this is my main directory. I have a folder called images, an index, and a style.css. So I'm going to grab all this stuff. Well, you don't want the style tag, but I'll just grab it and then delete it. So you can click right before the tag, and then if you go down to the ending style tag and you hold down Shift and then click, it will select the whole thing. Then you can say Command X to cut or Control X on a PC. And now I got all that junk out of here. It's in my clipboard. So I'm going to go to Style, click in the file and say Command V as in Victor. And then see how it's complaining. This is HTML, and it's like, this is a .css file. I don't like this. The only reason why you can get away with it in HTML is you're saying, oh, I'm going to give you some style right now. And it's like, okay, I expect CSS. So we want to get rid of those tags. I just kind of like to move everything over because it kind of deletes that junk out and I don't have to worry about leaving it. Okay, so we've done that, but now if I go to the page, all my styles are gone because I haven't linked to the style page. So let's go to index. You might think it's an anchor tag because that's how you link to other pages, but actually you're going to do it in the header, and it's actually called a link tag. And what it does is it links a reference to another file that you're using inside this file, right? So we're linking a style sheet. If I type in angle bracket and then the word link, this will come up. And if I hit enter or I click on it, it will not finish the link. Link tab. All right, I'm killing it. Okay, I was hoping to introduce this later, but now let's look at another cool thing about Emmet, which is the tool that is built into Visual Studio Code that allows you to kind of like have shortcuts to write your code. So that didn't work. So here's the other trick. Just type the name of the tag. So in this case, LINK. And then if I just hit tab, you can actually like choose. In this case, it's CSS, but it will default to that. I can hit tab and it'll say, this relationship of this link is a style sheet, and here's the href for that file. So let's like do that again. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to say link. And then in this case, so you can link all kinds of stuff, but let's click on CSS and we get the same thing. We get, oh, that's kind of nice. It assumes the name of your file, which in this case is correct. So it's a relationship of style sheet, and the href is style.css, which is true. So a thing about linking things, this is right, and if we look at it, it will work. Hooray, our ugly styles are back. But let's say I wanted to put the CSS in a folder because I'm going to have like multiple CSS files. If I do that, if I make that folder and I move style into it, move, this thinks that this style sheet is in the same level of the folder as the index.html, right? I'm in index. I have a sibling called style.css in my same folder. This will break it because now it lives in CSS, the folder CSS. So what we have to do is we have to say CSS /, and then now it says, oh yeah, there's the style file. And then that will work. As you're learning, you'll probably see something like this, where you start with a /. We are not doing that in this class because of the way that GitHub servers work. If I do this locally, it will work, but you know what? It won't work on GitHub, and that is sad. So let's take a look. So if I take this and I go to my purple app, this is GitHub Desktop, or if you're following along and you're using GitHub in another way, I just want to like check in the stuff that I've changed. So I'm going to say added content to homepage. Just this file or just this field. You don't need the description. You can add one if you want, but it doesn't matter. Click to main or commit to main. Now on my local computer, I have it in my history. There it is. There's all the things I changed in all the different files. Back to changes tab. So locally it's there. It's not on GitHub yet. I have to push commits to the origin remote. So our remote in this case is GitHub. So I'm going to say push origin. And I'm going to go to here. So this is our local computer. If you sent me this link, it would do me no good because this only works on your computer. So let's go to GitHub. First, I'm going to refresh. This is our repository. I'm going to refresh. There's all of our pretty files. So here's the cool thing about this name specifically. If I copy this, as long as you have completely used this, all the same capitalization or uppercase, lowercase, everything is exactly the same, and it's .github.io. If you copy that, and it says public here, and you open a new browser window, browser tab, and you paste that in, you will get a website. Oh, and the funny thing is, I thought I broke it. Oh, right. Okay, fine. It will work because this is our main server, but once you start adding folders, it won't work anymore. So, okay, do not add a // before the href. It will only work in this instance, not if you have like a homework assignment that also has a link to a different CSS. It will always, like, let's say, just for giggles, let's see, project 1, no spaces in folder or file names, project 1 trees, maybe it's a project about trees, I don't know. And then inside here, you always want to start with an index .html. I'm going to do exclamation point to get that boilerplate, and then tab, and then I'm going to say these are trees and stuff. If I link, so type the word link, tab, if I link to /CSS /style.css, it's gonna use this CSS, and maybe I have my own in here. I have like a style.css in here. I'll never be able to get to it as long as I have a / in the name, because on the server, this means go to the base of the server, which is right here, find a folder called CSS, and inside that folder, find a style sheet. So the way to get around that is no /. Then it says, okay, right where I am in index, of course there's no folder in here, but right where I am on the index page, go find, in this, wherever I am, go find a file called style.css. Okay, that's a lot. Let's move back a bit. I'm going to check. Okay, 13. Right. How do we make things pretty? Let's do it real quick. I'm going to get rid of this just so I don't forget about it. Move. Okay, I'm going to add a background color to body. So body should have a background dash color of something. I'm just going to do red, and then I can actually just choose it and then make it, I'll just make it like a light pink. There we go. Terrible pink. So now here's my local, right? It's local because it's 127.0.0.1. I have this background of pink. Yay! Now, maybe everything inside this page I want to be in a box that's got like some margin around it, So I can add another div, and this div, let's just give it a name so we don't lose it. Class equals, and I'll just call it like wrapper is one people like to use. I'm going to take this ending div, Command X to cut it, and then all the way down. So this is right after the body tag. So I want the other one to be right before the ending body tag. Close that sucker. So we can't see it. Well, it'll have a border, yeah. But now we're going to give it some style. So the name is wrapper. I'm going to go back to my style.css. I'm going to say, there's my body. I'll put it right under the body, .wrapper. And I'm going to say, make that background be white. So we can see it. So now we have white. And then maybe we don't want it to be like so close to the edges. We can say, this is a cool trick. We can say, we want the width of the page to be like 80% of whatever the browser window currently is. That will do that, but it'll make it be aligned to the left, and we don't want that. So we can say, you figure out the margins, margin auto, and then it will center it in the middle of the page. So now we have something that looks a little bit more like a website. There's definitely some padding issues, but we're getting there. Okay, because we're at 15 minutes, I'm going to close this one out. And next, we're going to talk about fonts. Later.